Hello, Home Slices. It's Kiera with Home Slice Adulting coming to you with my review for Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 1, Episode 18, which is titled Mixed Messages and Social Media. All right, y'all. Thank you for clicking on this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with someone who you think will enjoy it. I'm telling y'all right now, this video is probably going to be one of the longer ones, so get ready. Okay. We're going to take it scene by scene because unlike the episode last week, this had more substance to it and it was a little bit more enjoyable. So we're going to take it scene by scene. First scene, we see, a small gesture that Martell is trying to do for his wife, Mel. He cooks breakfast for her. Great little gesture. She's reading over custody arrangements and divorce paper stuff. I thought it was funny when she told him to come in and she pretended to be asleep. I thought that was funny when she had already told him, like, come in. So he knew she wasn't asleep, but whatever. Thought that was funny. Anyways, so he comes into the room, with breakfast. She's appreciative. She's pregnant. She's hungry. And Martell in the confessional was like, oh, well, she could have waited to tell me about the whole divorce paper thing, but you asked her what she was doing and she was honest with you. So I don't know what you're expecting from her, but whatever. So she tells him, I'm looking over these papers, divorce papers, and y'all, like Mel said, he is in denial. He's in denial that his marriage is on the rocks. There are just some people who really take to heart the saying, fake it till you make it. And it's clear that he feels that way. He's just going to pretend that his marriage is good until it becomes good. And it doesn't work like that. Whenever you betray somebody's trust like that, the stuff that you used to do while your marriage was good is not good enough. You have to go above and beyond. And he's not going above and beyond. He just changed his number last week. You was cheating with somebody for 2 years. You just changed your number last week. You feeding your wife breakfast doesn't sound like anything that you haven't done for her before. You were taking care of the kids before, even while you were cheating, and you're taking care of them now. He's not doing anything to go above and beyond to try to regain her trust. And as a matter of fact, things just kind of keep getting worse. So either he needs to face the music and get his act together, or they just both need to call it quits. I told y'all weeks ago that I think that they need to get divorced. Nobody likes to hear the end of a marriage, particularly, for me, particularly black love, particularly, a couple who is doing something great for themselves, doing something great for their family, doing great stuff for their community. Of course, nobody wants to see a marriage dissolve, but you also don't want to see somebody get hurt over and over again and remain in a marriage, not because you necessarily love that person, but because it's comfortable. And I think Martell is overestimating how much Melody values comfort. The comfort of having two incomes. The comfort of having him there help out with the kids as much as he does. The comfort of them being in business together. Mel is willing to risk that comfort and go out on a limb on her own so that she doesn't have to get embarrassed by you every 2 weeks. It's all about what you value. And the problem with the Holtz, and I've said this before, is that they care too much about how things look. And you can tell because Mel's most emotional times come around whenever there's another aspect of his infidelity that comes into play in the public. That's when she's the angriest. Mel was doing the mimosas with Mel when things had settled down in her marriage. But when things got back bad in her marriage and things started to fall apart, then she started to get angry again. So he's making her look like a fool, and she doesn't appreciate that. And she cares about how things look. Martell is the same way. He wants her to keep the stuff that's going on in their marriage in the house because of how it looks. It makes him look bad for her to be honest about the stuff that he's doing behind closed doors. They care too much about what it looks like versus what it is. And I think Mel moving forward with the divorce and even really considering it is the first time. Well, you know what? Again, because of how society is going today, we kind of shame people for staying in marriages that are bad. So maybe this is about how it looks too. She tired of looking like a fool, and now she wants to look like this woman who overcame a bad marriage and is still out here doing her business. So whatever. Moving on. Martell is just very delusional. Doesn't want her to even talk about divorce. Doesn't want her to consider divorce. And wants her to get her money back from the divorce attorney. And Mel is kind of a little bit throwing in his face that the cards are, she holds the cards in this situation. So yeah, it's going to get worse. We'll talk about it some more. All right, y'all. So to try to condense this review, I'm going to lump all the vasectomy stuff together. Okay. So number one, I want to applaud these men for taking charge of their reproductive health and for exhibiting this for the nation to see. First off, we saw a little bit more than I thought we were going to see. They were all surprisingly, minus Sidarik, because they didn't show Sidarik's. They were all surprisingly comfortable with showing peen and balls on TV. It's like if they moved the camera down half an inch, we would have been able to see everything. So the fact that the camera got so close to us actually seeing junk was actually like kind of startling for me. So that's number one. Number two, I do think that Black people, we have to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves by going to the doctor and getting regular checkups and building our trust of of doctors, not necessarily Black doctors, but Black people a lot of times don't like going to doctors, don't trust modern medicine, don't trust doctors. If y'all have ever seen Mrs. Evers' Boys, maybe you'll understand why. But the point is that by gaining more knowledge, taking charge of our own health, we become more informed and we can lead, better, healthier lives or whatever. So I think it's great that these men are going to the doctor, that they are taking charge of their reproductive health and showing the whole world that it's easy. And they were, of course there are jokes, and the jokes, the analogy about the soldiers marching and all that stuff is their way of making, things light and kind of fun, provided that they got snipped. I still think it's great. It was great to see. It's really hard to describe. Anyways, I want to make a point to say that the doctor told them to go home, talk it over, presumably with their significant others, and then, if they want to move forward, schedule their surgery or whatever. So, contrary to Marcel's orders, apparently he didn't talk to his wife. Okay, we'll talk about that part later. But the whole vasectomy situation, Sidarik was a wimp and backed out at the last minute, but the Scott brothers went through with the procedure. Of course, Maurice did better. The doctor was like, between you and me, you did way better than your brother. But the fact that they were asking questions, they took a look at the anatomy, they knew what was going to be snipped. Just something about being informed before you go through with the surgery, and also knowing that it's $10,000 to reverse is a big deal. I really enjoyed that part of this show. I love to see, Black people taking charge of their health and doing things that, like, historically we're not known for going to the doctor all that much or whatever until it's like too late, right? So, anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it about the vasectomy thing. If I see anything else, I'll mention it later. Until we get to the point where Tisha didn't know that her husband was getting a vasectomy that day. All right, in 60 seconds or less, we're going to talk about Tisha and go into speech therapy. I think it is wonderful for her to take charge of her communication skills, wanting to move forward and learn. And the way I took it was the person that she was talking to, whoever she was doing the consultation with, kind of seemed like they didn't feel like Tisha needed a lot of work or maybe no work at all. I think Tisha... after listening to what the lady was telling her, it sounded like you have a certain dialect. You know, every once in a while, your verbs and nouns may not agree, like all the time. And, you know, her husband says that she has a lazy tongue. But at the end of the day, there's not much she needs to work on. So I think that going through this process will help give her more confidence, and I'm all for it. Y'all saw the way the doctor called Maurice big fella. Anyways, we're gonna scooch past that, and we're gonna go to Nurse Kimmie dressing up in a sexy nursing outfit for Maurice. Nothing really there. He's gonna follow the doctor off. Sorry, y'all. Sorry, y'all. We gotta we're dog sitting, and we don't allow dogs on the couch, so I have to tell the dog to get off. Sorry. You gotta be authoritative. Anyways, we see Nurse Kimmie, who is actually a registered nurse. I feel like we knew that we knew that from last time, but I don't remember. Anyways, they're trying to make sure that he recuperates all right, and she's helping him. And they haven't been having good conversations lately, so they're just trying to make up for it and whatnot. So hopefully they just work things out. He's in a delicate position right now, and it's going to be stark contrast between how Kimmie and Maurice are dealing with this procedure versus how Marceau and Tisha are going to deal with this procedure. So, yeah, that. All right, y'all. Let's get into this argument that Tisha and Marceau had. It kind of happened in 3 parts, so let's start with the first. We see Tisha's mom, whose name escapes me right now, taking care of Marceau because he had surgery and he's having downtime. So he's running her ragged, asking about cookies and room temperatures and straws and being a very bad patient, okay? But, you know, what do you expect from a male chauvinist? Anyways. Tisha's mom is like, okay, I brought you the grapes and the water, but that's it, okay? You getting out of control asking for straws and for room temperature, okay? It's too much. Now, Tisha comes home, and Tisha kind of lets her mom in on some information that she shouldn't have, but she was shocked, so I see why it kind of spilled out. And Tisha's mom was like, I'm in here taking care of your husband because he had his surgery. And Tisha's mom is like, surgery? You had the vasectomy today? She ain't meaning to say it in front of her mama, so I see where things kind of got out of hand. So her mom excused herself, but instead of closing the door behind her so that Tisha and Marceau could have a conversation between husband and wife, she left the door open on purpose. So I think that Tisha's mama, whose name, again, I do not remember, needs to do better at staying out of their marriage. And we'll talk about that some more, okay? So they're having a conversation. And poor Tisha, I'm trying to figure out if Marceau really is the man that she married. Because her mom kept telling her, if Marceau's not the man who asked for your hand in marriage, then you need to leave, basically. Was Marceau a male chauvinist now who holds on really tightly to gender roles, antiquated gender roles within the household when it comes to taking care of family and whatnot? Was he that person when they got married? Or has he just evolved to the point where it makes more sense for him, now that he's cheating with 20 women, to have a wife that's at home taking care of the kids all the time, or that's at work, and then when she gets off work, she got to make sure she take care of the kids because Marceau makes her feel guilty about not being there for the kids. Okay, I'm gonna let you have a career, but you still got to make sure the kids are taken care of, and I'm not gonna pick up any slack. Okay, I wonder if Marcel has always felt the way that we have seen him feel about their marriage. So, anyways, Tisha is upset, basically saying, you think all you have to do is work, and when you come home, you don't have to do nothing else. You don't spend time with the kids. We don't play games together. You don't join us for dinner. You out and about, getting to enjoy this luxury that your wife does not have. And it's particularly unfair because now that she's working. Now, we can probably say without a lot of information that Tisha is definitely not making as much or bringing as much home as Marceau is. But they, if my understanding is correct, they are business partners in all of their other ventures. So if her name is on stuff, then she is a part of bringing stuff into the household, technically, I guess. But that's not the point. The point is, Tisha don't really get to go out and hang out with her friends the way that Marceau gets to do. Marceau feel like his main responsibility is to work in the house. And while it's definitely a part of his role as the breadwinner to be a breadwinner, not being involved in your kids' lives is like, why would you even have kids? Why have kids if you're not going to be a part of their life and that you're going to delegate 100% of child rearing to the woman? What happens if Tisha dies? Does he just get a new wife? Like, I don't understand. Yo, these dogs are finna drive me crazy. We are dog sitting one of my friend's dogs, and my dog is very in your face, and the other dog doesn't really like that. So they get into these little tiffs. But anyways, I feel like Marceau thinks that Tisha is whining, and I think that Tisha is fed up with Marceau being a chauvinist pig. And I think that they both have the right to feel the way they do. The problem is that Marceau is not bending at all. He feels like he bent when it came to her working and he didn't want her to work. But that ended up working out because if she's working and taking care of the kids, then she don't have time to run behind him and check and make sure if he's, messing around with girlfriend number 20 or girlfriend number 16, right? I think that Marceau needs to move into the 21st century, and that he needs to take an active role in his kids' lives, and that he is a very good at performing the Jedi mind trick. Get from over there. Very good at performing the Jedi mind trick and making Tisha think that she's crazy. Tisha wants them to spend time cultivating their relationship. She wants him to spend family time with her, and he just does not feel the obligation to do so. And it's just very odd. It's just very weird that he feels like he can go to work and come home and do nothing and spend time with nobody. Or he can go to work, come home, and then go out with his friends and hang out and have no responsibility outside of providing for his family. It's just very odd. There's more to life than work, and that's what Tisha was trying to say. And it's just unfortunate that it took her 13 years of marriage to kind of grow to the point where this wasn't acceptable. So what else isn't acceptable is when Tisha's mama comes in. I wish I could do her accent. She has this weird way of talking, kind of almost like she has a little bit of water in her mouth is what it sounds like. But she's like, I'm tired of hearing y'all's business. So instead of saying I'm tired of hearing y'all's business and closing the door and making sure she's outside of the door, she dives in and doubles down into a marriage that's not her own. And she is like, before I see you cry a tear over this man, he better be dead, basically. I'm not gonna let you hurt her. What else did she tell him? I think it was worth saying that Marceau is not the only person in the world that can take care of Tisha, and who could probably do a better job of taking care of her emotionally, because money isn't everything. Having an active person there who's in partnership with you, not just in business, but in taking care of the house, taking care of the kids, is worth something. And I guess you could make the argument that Martell and Mel have something like that as a partnership and their marriage is falling apart. But it all depends on who you are as people. Martell was not strong enough to tell his wife what he really needed, so that didn't work out for him. And, you know, it goes to show that being in a relationship with somebody, as you get older, both of you grow. And the reason why
to turn some
the reason why some marriages stay together and others don't is because when one person grows but the relationship doesn't, that causes some type of strain. And Tisha has gotten to the point where she is growing and she has outgrown Marceau's male chauvinist 1950s partnership roles situation. And Marceau, instead of being a little bit more accommodating, I'll say, because it's really interesting how he's yielded when it comes to her working. He hasn't yielded in a way that takes anything away from himself. He didn't have to make any sacrifices for Tisha to start working. Basically, what he said was, okay, you can start working, but everything that you were doing before as a stay-at-home mom still needs to be taken care of by you and you alone. So in addition to working, you're going to be a stay-at-home mom too. And you need to make sure all the systems are in place for that to be able to happen. Instead of saying, well, you're going to be working too now, so I'll pick up the kids Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You're going to be working as well. I'm going to make sure that, I'll order out food on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And instead of picking up that slack, he just told her, do the exact same thing you're doing now, but with less time. That frustrates me, okay? I have, as a person who's very forward thinking, who has a mind of her own, who lives in the 21st century, I do not want to have traditional roles in the house. As far as the man does certain masculine housework. Oh, he mows the lawn, he takes out the trash, but stuff like dishes and laundry, things that need to happen more often and things that need to happen basically every day in the house are delegated to the woman. Anybody got time for that? I pay 50% of the bills, I do 50% of the housework, and then you do the rest. It's 50-50. I don't understand why he thinks that he doesn't have to do anything else besides bring money into the house. It's just baffling to me. But anyways, Tisha's mom was wrong for coming in there and getting further into their business, even though she said she was tired of hearing their business. I do think it was interesting that she said that another man could do something for her, and how indignant Marceau got when she mentioned another man. You out here being accused of sleeping with 20 women's, like Tisha's mama said. And you had the nerve to get mad at the fact that somebody else could be treating Tisha right. And let me tell y'all something. I don't like that little smirk that Tisha had on her face when her mama came in there and was defending her. Tisha, you are a strong black woman. You can defend yourself. And it's not appropriate for you to allow your mother to come in there and tell him off. Not appropriate. She finally takes her mama out of there, and her mama tells her, you're a beautiful black woman. If things ain't working out, you need to leave. And, maybe she's not wrong. Let me tell y'all something. Sadark out here messing up marriages. Y'all, Sadark and Martell sit down to have a conversation. Martell gives us two pieces of information. One, somebody called Mel and told her that they saw Martell talking to a lady in a local club. So that... Oh, and that they were seen leaving together. So that's one thing. Thing number two is that Mel, as a result, has been posting things on social media, and he's tired of his business being put in the streets. Now, I told you all that the Holts are all about how things look. They are all about optics. And what are the optics of you at a club late night when you could be home hanging out with your kids or whatever, and you're talking to a lady? Things get blown up out of proportion. And whether Mel has the type of friends that want to stir the pot and who are trying to break up their marriage is kind of irrelevant. He kind of put himself in a situation that made things not look good. So, Martell, of course, is not focusing on what his responsibility in this whole situation is. And that's to in order for you to get things back to the way they were, you have to overcompensate in every area. Yeah, y'all might have had a little heated argument about her looking into divorce, but that means you need to try twice as hard to not put yourself in compromising positions. And he just doesn't understand that. He thinks that he can do the bare minimum and or do the stuff that he was doing before and get by, and it doesn't work that way. So anyways, he's sitting down telling Sadarik all of this, and look, Sadarik was talking good until he told Martell that the way you need to communicate with your wife is via social media. That was stupid, okay? That was some stupid advice, okay? So, y'all, I laughed so hard when Sadarik hey! What is wrong with these dogs? Sit. Be nice to our house guests. Boy. Sadarik was kind of holding him accountable. And he's like, what is making Mel so mad about this happening again? Either she doesn't believe that this whole relationship ended when it did, or like, are you putting yourself in compromising positions? You got to make sure that whatever you're doing is above board, right? Yeah, dogs are disgusting. Anyways, Sadarik was making some sense. And then when he said, oh, she can get a boyfriend, when he was talking about Mel getting a boyfriend, and Martell didn't like that. And it's like, how dare you? You had a girlfriend for 2 years and Mel can't have a theoretical boyfriend for 30 seconds? So full of it. So many double standards and all that jazz. But yeah, Sadarik's advice was terrible. I read the post off the screen and it was bad, y'all. Instead of defending himself and saying, I'm going to do everything that I can to regain my wife's trust. I love her so much. I stopped that affair ages ago. It's not going on. Doing things to reassure his wife, whether that was off or on social media. Harley. Dogs are weird. Hey. I'm sorry, y'all. He gets on social media and goes back to, like, basically the reason why he cheated on his wife in the first place. And instead of reassuring his wife that he was going to do better and that he was going to exceed her expectation, he gets on social media and says, look, wives, if you have a good man that's taking care of everything, you need to make sure you do whatever he wants you to do. And don't deny him anything. Or we'll take up with somebody else and leave, and it'll be too late. Do you know, look, I think that Mel is being hypocritical about his post, because she's been posting under normal circumstances it would be considered hypocrisy, because she's been posting about him all the time, about the way he's making her look, and it's not like we won't find out about it months later, like they're on a freaking television show, right? But the difference is when you're in the wrong, sometimes you just got to take the abuse. Okay? Again, you have to compensate in order to try to gain the trust back of the person that you love. So take the abuse. Take the post. Take it on the chin until she either divorces you anyway, or until you get back in her good graces and you continue to show her that you are the man that she wants you to be. Instead, you keep bringing up things that make her look bad, that she was neglecting you and that's why you cheated on her for 2 freaking years. That was the worst advice. That was the worst advice I've ever heard. It was terrible advice. Martell, you're an idiot for listening to Sadarik. That was so stupid. Now we got Mel, messing up her Snuffleupagus lashes because she's upset that he embarrassed her once again on social media. Again, there's a little bit of hypocrisy there, but since she's the person who, was done wrong and was betrayed in her marriage, I can understand While there's a little bit of a double standard in this situation. So Belle is upset, talking to Martell's cousin on the phone and just crying, and just to the point where she calls the divorce attorney and tells him to go ahead and file the papers. I'm telling y'all, anytime Martell makes her look bad, she gets angry and she does something. Whether that's go visit a divorce attorney in the first place, go visit their financial planner in the first place, or whether it's going through with these papers. He makes her look bad and she makes one move closer to getting divorced. Martell's stupid behind talking to his mama, and because his mama knows who he is, she asks, "Are you still continuing to see this woman?" He says no, but it's clear she thinks he's lying, and I do too. Okay, just just so y'all know. Excuse me. I think that his mom was really upset with him. It was really disappointed with him not only putting up that post, but doing this whole domino effect. I'm trying to understand what Martell's thought process was when he was in this relationship. First, you start talking to this girl. You get her phone number. And then at some point, things become more serious. You're spending money on her. You bought her a car. You're probably paying for the place that she lives. Over the course of these 2 years where this relationship was ongoing while you were married, did you never think that you were going to get caught? Did you never think about what it would cost you in the long run for you to do this type of betrayal to your wife? Because the problem is that when men are out here doing whatever they want to do, they don't just hurt their significant others, or even women cheat. So when people are out here betraying the trust of their significant others when they cheat, particularly if they are married, when you're married, you're one. So anything that you do to hurt your spouse is hurting yourself. And Martell is finally getting to the point where he sees that he hurt himself. He hurt himself because now he's going to have a different environment around his fourth child. If they really do get divorced, he's not going to be living in the same house as that child. His relationship with that child is going to be different dramatically than he's had with his previous children. He is going to lose out on business because Melody has decided to separate herself from Holt and Holt. And now it's just going to be one Holt. Okay? Even to the point where she's trying to poach the people that have been working with her. Okay? And they seem relieved by that fact, right? Because the first thing they said, well, is Martell going to know all the stuff that you know? So you lifted her up and encouraged her to become what she was today. And she the person who running things in your business. And now she about to split off. And what will you have? You will basically have to start over if she is the knowledge center of your business. You hurt yourself. It's 2 years in the making. 2 years of you sneaking around, spending money, doing whatever it is you want to do to this other person. And unfortunately, it came back to bite you in the behind.
It's not over. No.
It came back to bite you in the behind to the point where it's like dramatic. You're going to lose your wife. You're going to lose the opportunity to be for your last child to be raised in the same household. You're going to mess up your businesses. Everything about your life is going to change. You done disappointed your family. This is on public television. Messed up. Sometimes you mess things up and there's no going back. And I think the problem with Martell is that he thinks that things will get better. And there's a chance that they won't. All right, y'all. This is my last little bit about Love and Marriage Huntsville, or this particular episode. So, we have Martell still sitting and talking to his mama, and I'm going to address one thing that he said. He said, I pick up so much slack being a father to the kids. And he said, basically, the only thing that he's ever really done wrong is the infidelity. And I liken that to somebody going into court and saying, I've been a good, upstanding citizen, my whole life, and all I ever did was, I spent 2 years planning to kill somebody, and I killed them. Like, you becoming a murderer is like egregious. It's so egregious that it could potentially erase all the good that you've done in the whole world. Ask people like Bill Cosby about how something that he did a long time ago came back to bite him in the butt and destroy his legacy. There's so many things that people can do that are so egregious that it erases everything else that you've done. And cheating on your wife for 2 years with somebody, rumors spreading around town, y'all get on a show together, now the whole world knows that you cheated on your wife, and then things just continuously keep happening. It's egregious enough that it warrants a divorce. It's egregious enough that she, is not willing to let you back into her life or to her bed, to the children, well, maybe not the children's lives, but her life so easily. And the fact that he thinks that, I just did this one thing wrong. If you had a one-night stand, maybe you could say that. But you had a 2-year relationship with somebody else who you might still be in contact with. It's egregious. I don't know what's wrong with him, why he's really in denial that his marriage is falling apart. All right, y'all. Well, next time on Love and Marriage Huntsville, y'all, there's one preview for the next upcoming episode that is just so funny to me. Is by the time Maurice finally talks to Monster about moving to Huntsville, he tells them, I don't want to move here. We just spent this whole second half of this first season trying to get Monster and his mama to come down to Huntsville, and nobody freaking asked that child what he wanted to do. Nobody cared about what that child wanted to do. He don't even want to be in Huntsville. You done made Kyle, you done upset Kyle, you done upset Kimmie. You didn't put Maurice in the middle. You didn't got Kimmie's older son involved in it. You didn't had conversations with all the guys, and nobody talked to the freaking son. That's what I'm talking about. We got to change the way we parent, okay? We got to talk to our children more and not just make decisions on their behalves. But yeah, that's it, y'all. I will see you all next time. This video, I'm sure, is going to be super long once I slice it all together. But thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Peace out, home slices.